Hare Krishna dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. We are reading from the book Light of Bhagavata by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Text 31. The four prominent features of autumn are that there is no water in the sky, the weeds that grew here and there in the rainy season all wither away, the muddy roads and fields dry up, and the ponds of water become crystal clear. These four features of autumn atmosphere are compared to the four orders of life. In the Varnashram system, the student goes to the ashram of the master to take lessons from him and serve him, even as a menial servant. The troubles of the student are at once mitigated when he attains transcendental knowledge in terms of his relation with Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. As the white clouds no longer bear the burden of water in the autumn sky, the student finds that the troubles of drawing water for the master become a burdenless job if the student, by the grace of his master, attains to spiritual knowledge. Householders who beget children without restriction, like weeds in the rainy season, become solitary as soon as they attain to the stage of devotional service. The family planning of godless civilization cannot check weed-like unwanted population. People should learn to check sex life by voluntary restraint. This voluntary restraint is possible when one is dovetailed with the service of the Lord. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Well-situated devotees of the Lord refrain from materialistic sense enjoyment, for they are attracted by the beauty of the transcendence. Forcible restraint by regulative family planning or similar artificial means cannot work very long. One must be attracted by the transcendence. One can give up the inferior quality of enjoyment as soon as one receives the superior quality of spiritual enjoyment. So family planning is successful when one is engaged in the culture of the human spirit. The Vanaprasthas, who voluntarily avoid cleaning themselves and who allow their beards and nails to grow, no longer feel the discomforts of these burdens when they engage in the service of the Lord. And above all, the mendicants who take a vow to refrain from sex life no longer feel sexual urges when fixed in the transcendental service of the Lord. Therefore, in all four spiritual orders and four grades of social life, devotional service to the Lord is essential. Without this relationship, all the regulative principles of Varna and Ashram become burdensome duties as they have in the age of Kali. When the regulative principles have no aim, the Varnas become a caste system and the Ashramas become the business of various shopkeepers. All these anomalies of the present social system can be reformed only by cultivation of the human spirit in the devotional service of the Lord. Text 32. The beautiful white clouds, freed from all the burdens of water distribution, float in midair like mendicants freed from all family responsibilities. As long as one is attached to the so-called responsibilities of family burdens, he is always full of cares and anxieties about meeting his family expenses. The four orders of social life as designed in the Varnashram system are very scientific and cooperative. In student life, one is taught the primary principles of the human form of life. One who enters the household's life can execute the duties of a family man because he has already been trained for this job in the Brahmacharya ashram. And after 50 years of age, the householder retires from family life and prepares for the life of sannyas. The householder is duty bound to maintain the members of all three of the other ashrams, namely the brahmacharis, the vanaprasthas, and the sannyasis. In this way, every member of the society was given a chance to retire for a higher order of spiritual culture, and the householders neglected no one. The brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis all curtailed their necessities to the minimum, and therefore no one would begrudge maintaining them in the bare necessities of life. In Kali Yuga, however, the entire system has gone topsy-turvy. The student lives in luxury at the expense of the father or the father-in-law. When the educated, indulgent student becomes a householder by the strength of the university degrees, he requires money by all means for all kinds of bodily comfort, and therefore he cannot spare even a penny for the so-called Vanaprasthas and Sannyasis. The Vanaprasthas and Sannyasis nowadays are those who were unsuccessful in family life. Thus, the so-called sannyasis try to construct another home in the name of the sannyas ashram and glide down into all sorts of luxury at the expense of others. So all these varnas and ashrams have now become so many transcendental frauds. But that does not mean that there is no reality in them. One should not conclude that there is no good money simply because one has met with counterfeit coins. The sannyas ashram is meant for complete freedom from all anxieties, and it is meant for uplifting the fallen souls who are merged in materialism. But unless the sannyasi is freed from all cares and anxieties, like a white cloud, it is difficult for him to do anything good for society. Text 33. There are waterfalls flowing from the hills of the forest, but sometimes water does not flow from them. So the waterfalls are not like ordinary rainfall. They are compared to great reformers who speak or do not speak as the time requires. There are two different kinds of religious preachers. One of them is called professional preacher and the other is called the acharya. The professional preachers are like the rainfall from the sky, but the acharyas are like waterfalls. The professional traders in Bhagavatam and Ramayana will speak from the portion of the scripture that will appeal to the mundane senses of the audience. For example, the professional Bhagavatam reciter will generally speak on the subject of Rasa Leela, which appears to the layman to be something like the dealings of ordinary man and women. Thus, the professional reciters earn money from their so-called admirers. But the Acharya will never speak on Rasa Leela to the general mass of people. The Rasa Leela chapters of the Bhagavatam are the most confidential part of the scriptures, and they are meant for advanced students of spiritual realization. In the Bhagavatam, there are 12 cantos, and the Rasa Leela is in the 10th. So before one comes to the 10th canto, the Bhagavatam tries to convince him to the transcendental nature of the absolute truth. Unless one has grasped the spiritual status of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is sure to accept him as an ordinary man and thereby commit offenses at his lotus feet by so many unwanted activities. The Acharya is he who knows the scriptures well and teaches his disciples in terms of the disciples' capacity to understand and advance in the spiritual realization. Therefore, he sometimes speaks and sometimes does not speak. The holy messages of Godhead have to be received from the realized soul and not from the professional man. Although rainwater and waterfalls are the same, the water from the waterfalls has a different effect than ordinary rainwater. One should not accept messages from the professional man, as one should not accept milk touched by the tongue of the serpent. Milk is good, but as soon as it is touched by the snake, it becomes poisonous. The Acharya therefore is not a mercenary or a supplier like the professional reciter of the scriptures. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, let's conclude here. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.